week, please be here. Recovery Sunday, Reverend Dr. Georgia is going to be here, our founder. For those of you that don't know her, she's our founder, and let me tell you something. What I do know, she taught me, and I'm still not as good at it as she is. And I am so thankful that she will be here next Sunday, so hopefully you will join us. She's a guest in her own home. This place will forever be founded by Reverend Dr. Georgia Prescott. And And in fact, starting in November of this year, going forward, we are going to have a Founders Day celebration in November around Reverend Dr. Georgia's birthday, and it will always be our Recovery Day going forward. I can talk about a lot of things, but I'm sorry I can't talk about recovery. And just, you go, oh, he got that out of a book. You know, that's all I know. So I am inspired this morning from Brené Brown's lecture. Actually, it was a conference that she did called Rising Strong as a Spiritual Practice. It's good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. And our spiritual principle says that I will replace your heart of stone with a heart of love. A heart of stone to a heart of love. And in my work, since I've worked in heart transplant for the last 40 years of my life, a spiritual heart transplant. We were talking about a spiritual heart transplant that empowers us to change the heart that we can become hard-hearted as a result of life and give us a soft heart. So, strong back, soft heart. Strong back, soft front. This is a Buddhist saying, and it indicates that a strong back means boundaries, which gives you the opportunity to have a soft heart because you have boundaries. You can have a soft heart. No matter what has happened in your life, and we all have a story and it's all true, you can become one with a soft heart if you have boundaries in your life. It's not an on or off situation. It's not, I love you if you do everything exactly the way I want, and if you don't, I don't have anything to do with you. It is you have boundaries. You can have only certain expectations of certain people. So my title this morning is Hard-Hearted. Are you hard-hearted? Have you had a hard heart? Do you know anybody with a hard heart? Do you know anybody that every time you get near them, you just take a real good deep breath because you're just not sure exactly how they're going to arrive? So happy Mother's Day, and this includes all of the maternal spirit that there is in the universe. These are the people who have nurtured and cared for all of us, regardless of gender identity. And I am thankful, and we appreciate them all. For the non-binary mothers, we are thankful. For the gay mothers, we are thankful. For the male mothers, we are thankful. We are thankful for the mothers, everyone, because of their love and their kindness to us, because it's the role and the function and the love that you demonstrate in life that gives you the honor of being called a mother. Yes. You weren't born with the name mother. I'm here to tell you, you kind of earn that role. And be warned, I have a group of mothers here, so be careful what you say about me. just saying, just saying. You don't have to give birth to a child to be a mother. My mother, who I love dearly, did not give birth to me. My mother had 5 miscarriages before I was adopted. And at no point in my life did I ever feel that she wanted to birth her own child, and it was more important than me. I never thought that. My mother loved being a mother more than anything. Now, I believe it's because she thought she was in control, but, you know, she's not here to tell me and clean that up, and I can say anything now that she's on the other side. Because, you know, there were certain things I wouldn't have said when she was around. Nonetheless, I will quote her in saying, she did such a good job. She would always say, when you do something right, I did a good job. When you do something wrong, that's on you. So, but I have no fantasy about my parents. I mean, there are good things in life and there were painful things in life. Both of those things exist. It is not rosy all the time. It's not. I was a teenager too. And I wish I could tell you that I wasn't obnoxious, but I was. But the one thing you could trust me for is, I thought about this the other day. I would skip school and I would go home. Because you always need one parent who's going to cover for you no matter what. And my father would always cover for me. So I knew he would go, I'd rather you come home than be anyplace else. So if I skip school, I'd come home. But it's those boundaries that we have in life that give us the ability to love people who sometimes can be difficult to love. They can be, and guess what? So are we. Sometimes it's difficult for us to love. So my parents and I were friends. And of course, I'm at a point in my life where I remember primarily the good things, not the bad things, but there were some painful experiences. My mother and I had one discussion about sexual orientation. It was one conversation, and she said, and we will never have another. And 40 years later, we never had another. But she never asked me when I was going to get married. She never asked me when I was going to give her grandchildren. She just left it alone. And I learned to accept that as being her way of dealing with something that she wanted to be different. She wanted it to be different, but she didn't get her way all the time. In fact, I prided myself on that, not giving her way. But so we never had but that one conversation, and so I had to accept it. But then I watched her as she got older, because as she got older, she got nicer to other people other than me. I always had, you gotta do it right, you gotta act right. It's always that way. There were always this list of do's. But when it came to other people, she ended up having this compassionate heart for people that were just not mainstream. And I'm gonna give you an example of what I mean. You remember when Dennis Rodman came out in the dress? My mother wrote him a letter of support. And she told me about it, and I said, who are you? Are you possessed by someone else? I had to be perfectly dressed all the time, right? You could never go home halfway. She'd check you out at the door. You good? Okay, you can come in. But I would travel home and I would find out she had all of these new relationships with people who would say, well, I didn't know that was your mother. I love your mother. I didn't think she could be your mother at all. Because that was a judgment of saying, I wasn't the nice one, she was. And I would think, what has happened to her? What has happened to her? Because my mother could make you think the entire room stunk, because her nose was always crinkled up. Do you know people like that? It was always crinkled up. It was always just a look of distaste. But here are all these people, I love your mother. She's so wonderful. Mm-hmm. So you don't know her. You don't know her at all. But she did these wonderful things for other people that people told me about. She didn't share. She did these things. And I realized after a while, I think the Spirit let me know that she was doing a lot of things to try to make up for not being able to have that conversation with me. That she didn't know how to deal with it. She just didn't. So she just accepted it and she went on and she did good. And this is the definition of grace. Grace is you're already loved. Not because of who but because of who you are and who God is, not because of what you've done. Not because of what you've done, but who you are and who God is. So I learned a lot about her going back home to Michigan and visiting her and finding out there is something that had possessed my mother to become a nicer person. So everyone has to understand, though, your mother was operating with the consciousness that she had at the time. And you operate with the consciousness that you have at the time. And so we have to be sensitive and understanding and a bit of forgiving, because we don't always act right and our parents don't either, even though we expect them to, of course. Now, I know all of you were perfect as parents, but I'll interrogate your children and we'll see. Okay? So how do you manage this? How do you manage this relationship? You've just got to forgive and live. You've just got to forgive and live and have boundaries so that you can have a soft heart. These experiences remind me, though, that the Spirit being operative in our life is always moving and working these things together for good. Because on their own, individually, they are not, but they work themselves together for good. So holidays, especially Mother's Day, can be complicated. But we can choose to celebrate the good and forgive the mistakes, not the sin. It's not sin. They just made mistakes. And even though disappointment in life comes to all of us, we have to learn how to manage it. It isn't because we have been picked on, it is a function of life. But we have this overcoming power to be able to overcome the problems that we have. But how do you rise from this? Do you come brokenhearted, hard-hearted, or with an open heart? Have you ever checked the condition of your heart? Is it soft or is it hard? In Rising Strong as a Spiritual Practice, Brené Brown tells the story of her spiritual awakening, which she calls her spiritual breakdown. So she says, rising strong is what happens when we fall down or get knocked down and we choose to get up. Because we will all fall down. We will all get knocked down. But do you choose to get up? And how you get up, getting up in courage and in confidence is really what you do. This is how we deal with disappointment. This is how we deal with failure. Because if we don't learn how to deal with failure and disappointment, the only thing and the only people who never fail never do anything. So sometimes we're going to fail. Now, I don't ever want you to know that I fail at anything. I would prefer no one to know. But unfortunately, the Spirit would have it that sometimes I expose myself. I expose the things in life I don't want to share. It's not about avoiding failure at all. It's about learning how to overcome the things that happen in our lives that transform us into what we have the potential to be. Because see, when we have been hurt and offended or damaged in life, it's hard to overcome that because you want to protect yourself. These are the things we do. We set up some way of protecting ourselves. Unfortunately, when we protect ourselves from other people, we also put ourselves in a prison. The door has to be open. You have to have an open door. You have to have an open heart. And the only way to have it is to have some boundaries. The people who hurt you don't need to be in your presence at all times. Knocked down, knocked out, but you get up one more time again. Boundaries and an open heart. Brené says, all of us deal with anxiety in one of two ways. She says, first of all, we all have to have a story when we have anxiety and fear. We have to. Our brain immediately goes to a story. And either you have the facts or you have the facts and you fill it in with non-factual information, which is called a conspiracy. How many of you can write a conspiracy? You can read other folks' mind. You knew what people were thinking and what they were doing, and I know this is what they meant. And all. Oh yeah, you do. I do. I make up all kinds of stories about all of you, but I love you anyway. When you have missing facts, you make up the story because we want to feel comfortable and safe. And when we cannot understand something, we are really, really, really frustrated. So we fill in the blanks. And most of the time, how we fill in the blanks is based on what our experience was at home when we were growing up. Were your parents factual or were they conspiracy theorists? Which one were they? Anxiety. So she says, when we deal with anxiety, we deal with it one of two ways. Either we underfunction or we overfunction. Underfunction is checking out. This is Ricky watching Star Trek, the entire series, from beginning to end one evening. Just don't want to be bothered. I have checked out. Bag of potato chips or Doritos, and I'm good. I'm good. I couldn't be happier. I got a witness over here. I mean, you know, because really those Doritos came from heaven. They descended, and the Tapatio, Lord have mercy. God, I love it. That's when I'm under functioning. But over functioning is when you want to be in control. That's over. Who do I get any witnesses in the room? And if I can sit down, my legs will do this. And you know, I'm telling you, we want to control. We go, we got to fix it. We got to control it. And how did your mother deal with anxiety and fear? Did she underperform? Did she underfunction? Did she check out? Or did she overdo it and control everything? So we have to have a little grace with it all. So Brené Brown tells the story of how she had her spiritual awakening. So she says she is sitting in TCBY with her daughter. And they're sitting there and she's just having a good time with her daughter and the phone rings and she decides to answer the phone and it's an event planner who says, "Are you okay?" And she says, "Yes, why are you calling me?" And she said, "Well, because you missed your flight." She said, "No, I didn't. I didn't miss my flight." Because she's an overfunctioner and controller and the first daughter of 4. Okay? So she's sister control freak. Okay? Now she realizes she has forgotten an event hosted by the governor of Idaho, and there are 2,000 people showing up, and she is sitting in TCBY with her daughter having yogurt. So, what do? She panics. Her husband's a pediatrician. She calls her husband. She calls the kids. Everybody has to show up now to fix Brené. So they all get ready and go to the airport. And on their way to the airport, Brené says, she thought, "I'm sorry, I didn't prepare any food and freeze it, and I didn't lay out your clothes." And her husband said, "We don't eat that stuff that you cook. We have pizza and ranch dressing every time you're gone, for every night you're gone." And her daughter says, "And I never wear what you put out for me." So she has to deal. She has to deal with the fact of her over-controlling self didn't work. And here's the thing I think that's fascinating. And your family is humoring you to make you think that you are totally in control. They said, "We throw out that spinach casserole that you put in the freezer. We don't want to eat like that when you're not here. We want pizza and ranch dressing." You know what? It's better if you have to cheat and go do it, right? It's always better. I tell Tom all the time, Tom enjoys a cookie he can steal. So she has this spiritual awakening. The question is, how do you recover after you hit the wall? How do you recover? Do you come up angry? Do you make everybody miserable around you? Or do you end up with a soft heart? And the only way you can handle it is you have to have some boundaries to have an open heart. So Renee, she makes it to her presentation and she goes on, but she says she learned a whole lot from this experience. And that is, she recognized that she was a big time controller. She overfunctions when she gets the opportunity to do it. And she said, it sounds familiar because she accused her mother of doing the same thing. And that's typically the place where we are, where we accuse and blame people for things, particularly when we see ourselves in them. But we have to have an open heart and be forgiving of everyone and ourselves. Because if we don't, we can't go on and lead a healthy life. And if we don't, we'll have carnage everywhere we go. Do you know anybody that everywhere they leave, there's a problem? Yes. Everywhere they leave. I have worked with some people in life. I go, I should not pray that you die. But I pray that you hit the lotto and retire because you get on my last nerve. I'm human. I'm just going to tell you. I'll pray for you to hit the lotto to get out of my life. I know it's not right for me to pray for you to die, but I certainly pray for you to be blessed. Like, God, give it to him. Give it to him now. Lord, I need you to do it now because I need this person out of my life. You know, I just kind of reach back to my roots when it comes to that. But how do you deal with disappointment? How do you rise strong from disappointment? When things in life don't go the way you want. Maybe your mother wasn't the way you wanted her to be, and maybe you weren't the mother you wanted to be. How do you deal with the disappointment? How do you embody strength and courage to overcome? Because even though it all happened, the Spirit can make up for the difference. All the time. This is how I know the Spirit is real, because these places in life that we just can't fix, and somehow or another, they work themselves out. But how do you overcome? Are you controlling, or do you end up with a soft heart? How do you rise from the situation? So she continues to say, how do you brave the wilderness? The wilderness exists in all of us. This is the place of our own individual spiritual journey. This is the road to Rome. You're all on a journey. No matter what you say, we are all on this journey. And it's a spiritual journey until you recognize it. You may not notice it, but you're on one. I guarantee you. There are times people leave me and I kind of go, I know you on that road. I pray for you now because it's going to happen. And how do you deal with the challenge and the doubt and the disappointment that happens? But here is what happens at the point of all of that. We end up with a divine encounter. God shows up and meets you right at the point, at the end of your rope, and catches you and gives you a soft heart if you're willing to receive it. Replacing the heart of stone with a heart of love, giving you the ability to love and to be loved. Yes. To be loved. The hardest thing for most of us to learn is how to be loved. So maybe you have had some disappointment. Maybe you've been discouraged. Maybe your mother was not there for you the way you wanted her to be. Maybe you weren't there the way you wanted to be, or the way your children wanted to be. How do you overcome? You forgive and live. Life is on the other side of forgiveness. You have to just deal with the fact, I have to let it go. For my own healing, I have to let it go. We're not punishing anybody by holding it against them. Most of those people aren't worried about our thoughts whatsoever, if they really wanted to hurt us. But in all honesty, it's the story we make up because we write conspiracies about people's relationships with us. But you don't have to do that any longer, because right at the end of your rope is the divine, with this net to catch you because you just are in a free fall. And you think, I am not going to make it. There is no way in the world I am going to come back from this. And God just reaches out and lifts you right back up to a place better than the place where you started. Because the Spirit has been better to us than we have been to ourselves. And for that, and for so much more, I just give thanks. Happy Mother's Day. Boundaries and a soft heart. Let us pray, giving thanks and praise. Giving thanks and praise that the Spirit is always there, right at the end of myself. Spirit is there. Was there all the time and I didn't notice. But then at the end of myself, I find I am in the everlasting love of God. And there's no place better to be in the loving arms of God. So I am just giving thanks for that. And I'm giving thanks for everyone here and for everyone that is in need of healing. I speak forth your healing, whether it be emotional, financial, physical, whatever your need is. For all of those people are in our ministry of prayer. I ask that the healing virtue that streams down from heaven touches, heals, and brings you on. Be encouraged, overcome, knowing that with God all things are possible. So I am just giving thanks and praise. I can release my word. I can let it go. I no longer have to struggle with it because it is done. And so it is. It's time for our offering. Repeat after me. My money is God in action. My money is God in action. Is your money in God in action? I send it forth to bless and to prosper. All who come in contact with it. And so it is. And please welcome back the CSA New Thought Gospel Choir.
Yeah. He just noticed that we're all wearing pink today in the choir. Very vibrant. Give it up for this good-looking pink choir. And good sounding. So I'm never good about figuring out, oh, there's a holiday coming up. Maybe we should pick a song that has something to do with the holiday. But it kind of worked out because this next song is More Abundantly. Who's more abundant than mothers? You know, I mean, let's give it up for the mothers in the room and just the abundance they bring. But I just want to say the words real quick of the song, and you can picture it like it's your divine mother telling you this. And the lyrics basically go, I come that you might have life more abundantly. I come that you might have life through eternity. I did not come to condemn the world or shame you for your wrongs. I have come to heal the brokenhearted and to give your heart a song. I come to give you life. I come to give you joy more abundantly. That's what we're doing here.